Today we're going to be talking about Criterion movies, and I'm going to show off about 120-ish Criterion movies along with a couple special edition box sets. So I don't read the backs. You can read the backs if you want, but I typically don't do that. A lot of these are sealed. Most of these are sealed. Doesn't mean I haven't already seen them. I've lived a lot of my time in dorm rooms and overseas, and a lot of my stuff has been in storage for 5 years. And so now I can actually display my stuff and actually use my stuff. So just because something's sealed doesn't mean I haven't seen it, and I don't open my stuff unless I use it. So most of these are sealed, but again, doesn't mean I haven't seen some of these. Most of these I haven't seen. I'm not going to go in depth. I'll go in depth later. I'll pick out individual movies or groups of movies and go more in depth into them. Whereas this time, we're just going to get through these movies. So first up, we have The Incredible Shrinking Man. I haven't seen this, but I have read the book by Richard Matheson. Richard Matheson was Stephen King's Stephen King. He's the guy that Stephen King would read growing up and inspired some of his writing style. We have 8 Hours Don't Make a Day. This is actually an 8-hour movie, 495 minutes. I think that's about 8 hours. Not the longest movie in here. There's one that's 15 hours, but I can't remember which one it is. Maybe I'll recognize it when we come to it. Got Bitter Rice. Woman of the Year, Katharine Hepburn. Movie she made after Philadelphia Story, which was her comeback movie. Immigrants and the New Land, double feature. His Girl Friday, Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell. Bicycle Thieves. I got this one because I heard multiple people say this was one of the best movies ever made, and that's a bold statement. I don't know how one could even come to that conclusion with any movie. There's just too many movies to say this is the best one. It's like saying this is the best song of all time. Like, really? But if people have made that claim, I do want to check it out. Lost in America. I'm not going to try to pronounce this. I can't pronounce French stuff. So I'll just let you guys look at that. We'll go through my DVDs real quick. We got The Red Balloon, which is a children's show. It's like half an hour long. I saw this as a kid, and if I remember right, it's all about either a kid chasing a red balloon that is floating away from him. I think it's about a kid chasing it, or it might just be about the balloon itself, the journey it goes on once the kid loses it. I can't quite remember. But I'm just glad it got a Criterion release. It's a classic children's, not movie, but short film, I suppose. La Million. Let me know if showing the backs of these is kind of annoying, or if you actually like seeing the backs. I know showing the back also takes a little bit of time. I can breeze through these quicker, but maybe some people actually want to see the back. The Threepenny Opera. I like that art. Fan La Tulipe. And then my last DVD I got here, Clean Shaven. Alright, that's my DVDs. And we got It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I love old movie art. The cover art, just a charm to old movies. We got The Fisher King with Robin Williams, Jeff Bridges, and it is a Terry Gilliam film. Terry Gilliam is fantastic. I just watched The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus with Andrew Garfield, Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Heath Ledger. It was Heath Ledger's last movie. The CGI in it is kind of terrible, but it gives a kind of a charm to it anyway. I like the movie. Some people thought it didn't live up to its potential, but I enjoyed it. Naked Lunch. People didn't think a movie could be made from the novel because it's one of those that you read it and go, it doesn't seem that possible to make a movie out of this, but they did it. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Got Rumblefish by Francis Coppola, Nicolas Cage's uncle, who made movies such as The Godfather. Nicolas Cage is in this movie. He's not one of the main characters, but he's in this. It's one of the 2 movies Nicolas Cage has on Criterion. And here's the second one, Moonstruck, with Cher and Nicolas Cage. We have Antichrist, which Bill Hader in his Criterion Closet video said this was a good date movie. Do not watch this as a date movie. Now he was obviously joking. What's interesting about this, it has Willem Dafoe. This was made in 2009. He was a prominent actor, but it shows his character having full penetration. Not him, I don't think. I think it was somebody else. But, body double or something. But it had full penetration, which you don't really see with prominent actors. You're not going to go see a Brad Pitt movie and Brad Pitt's character showing full penetration. So that's interesting about that. It's considered one of the more disturbing type movies. The Philadelphia Story, Katharine Hepburn's comeback movie. Carnival of Souls. Anxious to watch this one. I hear it's pretty good. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with some Ralph Steadman art. Ralph Steadman is the guy who did the art in the novel. And Ralph Steadman also, I'll show these when I do my Steelbook video, but he also did the art on the Breaking Bad Steelbooks. Some people thought they were kind of ugly. I love that art. I love some of the the sketch kind of scratchy art. So I like Ralph Steadman. I'm so glad he did the Breaking Bads. I think they look beautiful. But I'll show those when I do that video. Black Moon. We got Badlands with Martin Sheen. We got The Tin Drum. This one is fantastic. This was set in World War II. It's about a kid who, when he's 3 years old, he decides, you know what? Adults are crazy. I don't want to get into all that nonsense, so I'm going to stop growing. And he just decides to stop growing. So he remains 3 years old. It's a fantastic movie. I think this is the first time they were actually able to complete the movie. They restored a lot of the film. They brought in an actor back and recorded some audio, finished the movie. So this is actually the first time the movie has been completed. So definitely worth watching from the Criterion collection. Gates of Heaven in Vernon, Florida. Double feature. One Night in Miami. A movie about Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke. The Rules of the Game. Again, old movie cover art is fantastic. M. And Bringing Up Baby, another Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. I saw in one of these movies there's special features with Katharine Hepburn, and it was rare for her to do interviews. She didn't do interviews, and she did a couple or one or two, and she was kind of a jerk. in the interview. It's like she acted so entitled and just so, I don't know. It kind of lowered my respect for her a little bit. I was like, you're kind of a douche. Uh, Three Fantastic Journeys by Carol Zemin, which includes Journey to the Beginning of Time, Invention for Destruction, and The Fabulous Baron Munchausen. I just got that movie on regular Blu-ray not too long ago. I didn't know it was included in this. I think it cost a little bit too. The Fabulous Baron Munchausen, the classic cult film. I didn't know I already had it. Funny Games, 1997, was also remade in 2007 with Tim Roth. Definitely watch this version first, I think. This is French. It's subtitled and it's slow. So some people don't like subtitled movies, especially when they're slower. It's a home invasion movie. But if you're into Criterion, you're probably not going to mind subtitled slow movies. But this is fantastic. Also has one of the weirdest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I've seen stuff like Scary Movie, and obviously those movies are weird, but they're supposed to be weird. This isn't. So the fact that it has the scene that it does is very jarring, and just it's off-putting because you're like, what's going on right now? So the weirdest scene I've seen in a movie. Also has some good cinematography. There's one shot that's like 5 minutes long, kind of emotional, and it's just it's a good movie. Check it out. Crumb. I got this because I like the cover. I haven't watched it yet. Insomnia from 97. 97 was a good year for movies and video games. A lot of movies and video games I liked from that year. My Man Godfrey. Now this movie is funny. I don't think a lot of people realize just how funny old movies could be. I think there's a lot of people who just don't watch old movies because they don't think they're going to be that good. You know, like Jump Street movies, Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers, The Other Guys, funny comedies, right? But there's a charm to old comedies that you just don't get with new comedy. Not saying one's better than the other. It's just you're missing out if you don't explore everything. Also, there's special features in this. This was made in the 30s, and there's bloopers where people are cursing. And it's kind of fantastic because you don't really see footage from the 30s, especially movie footage where people are cursing. So it's kind of jarring because, you know, people didn't curse in movies back then. So to see that was... What was the first movie with cursing? Wasn't it Gone with the Wind, I believe? The Lady Vanishes, Alfred Hitchcock. I need more Alfred Hitchcock. I got a couple in Steelbook and a couple here, but I do need more. Time Bandits, another Terry Gilliam. I think I saw this as a kid. I can't remember. The Wages of Fear. One of my favorite movies, The Great Escape with Steve McQueen. I'll show my Great Escape collection at some point. It kind of started by accident. I kind of got a couple of versions of the movie, and I just kept getting more versions. So I have a few versions of this movie. You can see one by Kino Lorber in 4K back there next to Cube. The Naked Island. Wildlife with Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of my favorite actors. If you haven't seen Nightcrawler, go watch that. Nothing to do with the X-Men character. The Man Who Knew Too Much. Alfred Hitchcock. Good movie. Let's go with Bruce Lee. Nice little collection here. I like this box. And the movies include The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, and Game of Death. Next up we have the Before trilogy, which includes Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. I like a good trilogy. Now, most of these box sets include cardboard kind of packaging for the individual movies in the box set. Except this one, the Whit Stillman trilogy, Metropolitan, The Last Days of Disco, and Barcelona. So this one actually includes regular plastic cases. So just regular cases like these. Then we got John Cassavetes, 5 films. You have Shadows, Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Opening Night, and then also a booklet. We got a nice collection here of the essential Jacques Demy. Some French films. And these include Lola, Bay of Angels, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, The Young Girls of Rockfort, Donkey Skin, and Une Chamber in Ville. Again, I can't do French. My apologies. The complete Jacques Tati. We just did Jacques Demy. Here's Jacques Tati. So this should have all Jacques Tati's works. It's not just the essential films. It says complete. So I'm assuming this is actually all his films. You have Jour de Fête, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, Mon Oncle. Is that like monocle? Mon Oncle. Playtime, Traffic, and Parade. Lone Wolf and Cub. I got this because I have the complete manga set. I haven't read it yet. I haven't seen this yet. I'm going to read the manga before I go through this. But I was excited that they had a series based on manga in Criterion. The Furies. Now this is a hefty package for one movie. That's because it includes the novel. So if a movie comes with the book itself, it's probably a good idea to read the book first. So I'm gonna read the book before I watch the movie. Speaking of books, I will be doing a book collection video at some point. Then we have Hunger by Steve McQueen. Not the same Steve McQueen that was in The Great Escape, but Steve McQueen, the director. Now this movie I think is about a hunger strike. To me, hunger strikes is a stupid concept. Because if I'm against something that somebody is protesting, I'm not going to cave just because someone's not eating. Someone's like, hey, stop watching Criterion movies or I'm not going to eat. Well, then starve. I don't care. I'm going to keep watching Criterion movies. Right? So to me, it's a stupid concept, but I'm willing to be enlightened by learning more about it. Maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe if there's documentaries about hunger strikes, maybe I'll learn something about it. So I need to look into that. But on the surface, to me, it seems like a really stupid concept. I'm sure the movie itself, I'm sure this is good, but this is the concept of hunger strikes. I don't get it. Dragon Inn. The Breakfast Club. Don't hate me. I have not seen this movie. I have seen a lot of movies, but there are a lot of movies I haven't seen. But I didn't know until I got this that it's made by John Hughes. And John Hughes just knocks out hits. Home Alone, Trains, and Automobiles. I'm constantly finding movies that John Hughes did. I'm like, oh, John Hughes did that? Oh, John Hughes did this? So now I'm even more excited to watch this. Because John Hughes just knocks out the hits. We have By Brackage. A guy named Brackage. So Brackage, over the course of over half a century, as the back states, made over 350 films. That's a lot of films. Now this is a hefty, if you feel it and hold it, you can tell it's hefty. Now this has volumes 1 and 2 from 1954 to 2003. It collects 56 films. And that's a lot of films, but a lot of them are going to be short films, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. There's some feature length, but a lot of them aren't going to be. If they're all feature length, you'd have some, you'd have a big box set. You'd have a bigger box set than this. But because it's shorter films, they can fit it all into a small package. So this is something, if you want to appreciate filmmaking, you're not wanting to sit down with popcorn and watch a movie. If you want to just enjoy some quality filmmaking on different levels, then this is a good set. I haven't dived into Brackage myself yet, but anxious to try him out. Next we have Boyhood with Ethan Hawke. This was filmed over the course of 12 years. And so you kind of see the kid in the movie kind of grow up, which is why, hence the name Boyhood. Filmed over 12 years. Come and See. This movie is about the devastating horrors of war. The Thin Red Line. I don't know anything about this movie. Repo Man. So I got this because I just googled the best covers from Criterion, and multiple people on Reddit was like, Repo Man, that's the best. So I already have this in Steelbook. I think the Masters of Cinema edition by Eureka. So I don't know anything about this. I know it's a cult film. I think it's a Terry Gilliam, actually. No, it's not. Never mind. It's Alex Cox. So I've seen the 2009 or 2010 Repo Man with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, where people can buy synthetic organs like livers and hearts, but if they can't pay for it, the Repo Men, Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, come in and repo the organs, essentially killing the person because they can't live without the organ, right? But if they can't pay for it, they come back, take the organ, and repo it. And there's also a movie, I haven't seen it, but it's called something like Repo, a Surgical Opera. So I love Repo Men. I love that movie. I'm hoping, again, I don't know anything about this. I like going into movies blind. I'm hoping this actually is related to that. This came out in 1984. So I'm hoping Repo Men kind of took this concept and just made a modern movie out of it. I'll see. I'm planning on watching this soon. Excited for that movie. I know that actor from someplace. I can't think of where I know him. Classic, we got Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Sean Penn. Absolute classic, The Blob with Steve McQueen. There's some special features on here that shows somebody who's collected a lot of props from the movie and kind of made a little museum in his own place. Eyes Without a Face. Hoop Dreams. Obvious classic. The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. I also have this one on Steelbook. Good movie. Instead of you want to know how I got these scars, it's you want to know how I got this mustache. Good Morning. So this one I got because both Michael Cera and Paul Dano recommended this movie in their Criterion Closet videos. Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I'm excited to watch this. I can't believe this has a Criterion release. I wouldn't expect this to be that good of a movie, but apparently it's gonna be if it's in the Criterion collection. Not once have I watched a movie in the Criterion collection and it's been bad. Not one time yet. I'm sure it'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet. The Earrings of Madame Day. We got the Trilogy of Life, the Decameron. I think that's how you pronounce that. I don't know. The Canterbury Tales and Arabian Nights. Classics. I love a good trilogy. Now, do you think Lord of the Rings is a trilogy? Some people say it is. Some people say it's not. Some people say it's just a continuation. It's not an actual trilogy. There's a debate about that. You got Police Story 1 and 2. Jackie Chan. Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee. Is Spike Lee still making movies? He probably is. I haven't really heard much about him in a while. Dazed and Confused. A Face in the Crowd. Andy Griffith. Haven't seen this since I was a kid. The Complete Lady Snowblood, which includes Lady Snowblood and Lady Snowblood Love Song of Vengeance. Now, this is one that I'm super excited to dive into because apparently this is Kill Bill before Kill Bill, and this is where a lot of influences Tarantino grabbed from to make Kill Bill. Excited to watch that. The Lure from 2015. I got this simply because of the cover. That is an awesome cover. We need more mermaid movies, in my opinion. 8.5 by Fellini. Now, this movie is also in the Fellini box set. So if you have the box set, you don't need this individual movie. I'll show the box set here in a minute. You have Only Angels Have Wings. That's not true. Birds also have wings. Blood Simple by the Coen brothers. This was a good movie. Also, the commentary is pretty good. You can listen to the Coen brothers. I think this was their first movie. And the Coen brothers in the commentary kind of point out what they liked and what they didn't like about the movie. They're like, oh, we could have done the lighting better here. Could have done this better. So it's interesting to hear prominent directors say what they thought was kind of weak in the movie and what they could have done better and what they didn't like. Jean Delman, something like that. I think I mispronounced that, but I got this because it's 200 minutes, over 3 hours, and you can read the back if you want. I haven't read it, but I heard somebody mention that this was a movie. It was over 3 hours of just a woman cleaning her house or apartment. Now, that's not my style, but if it's in the Criterion collection, I'm gonna check it out. It reminds me of the kind of new thing on YouTube, kind of newish thing. I think I saw Penguin Z0, aka Moist Critical, aka Charlie White. I think he did a video on this where women will clean on YouTube. They'll clean, but they kind of make it sexy in a way, like, oh, I'm bending over and so it's kind of innocent enough, but it's everyone knows these are just videos for for dudes to watch and get off on. And there was this one where I think like it was showing up her skirt and such, but she had her kid in the video. Like her kid was like off to the side. Like be weird. I don't care. Be weird. I'm not gonna judge you for being weird. You know, we're all weird to an extent, right? But leave your kid out of the video if you're making one of those kind of videos. Just leave kids out of it. You have Sisters. La Strada. The In-Laws with Peter Falk. Now, I always think this is Will Ferrell every time I see this cover. Peter Falk, if you don't recall, was the detective in Columbo. He played Columbo. Marcel trilogy, which includes Marius, Fanny, and Caesar. Then we got Berlin Alexanderplatz. Let me stacking up these movies here. Then we have a collection of movies which include Head, Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, Drive, He Said, A Safe Place, The Last Picture Show, The King of Marvin Gardens, and America Lost and Found, the BBS Story. Now, I grew up listening to a lot of Christian music. I was heavily in the Christian community. Not so religious anymore, but there's a Christian music artist named Steve Taylor, not Steve Tyler, but Steve Taylor, and he has a song called "Drive," he said, and I'm wondering if this movie is where that song got its influence. Interesting. I'll show off my Christian music at some point. A lot of Christian music CDs. Because, nostalgia is nostalgia. People grew up listening to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. I grew up listening to, Audio Adrenaline, DC Talk, Skillet, T-Bone. I probably know more Christian music than the average Christian person. But nostalgia is nostalgia. So, even though I'm not religious anymore, I do listen to Christian music from time to time because nostalgia. Now we got Fanny and Alexander. I think this is a Christmas movie. It was on my list of Christmas movies to watch. So I don't know why it would be on there if it wasn't. So this has the television version, which is 320 minutes. I think that's about 5 hours. And then the theatrical version, 188 minutes. And then the making of Fanny and Alexander, 110 minutes. So I'm assuming the television version is what people want to watch. That's a lot of extra time. I don't remember what movie. There's a movie here that's 15 hours, but I don't recall which one it was. You have the Road trilogy, Alice in the Cities, Wrong Move, and Kings of the Road. We got one of the most critically acclaimed movies of all time, Citizen Kane. Gotta have this movie in the collection. Whether you think it's overhyped or not, you gotta have this. It's critically acclaimed. So, just so you're aware, if you have shallow shelves such as I do, it's gonna stick out. It's gonna stick out like this. It's a wider movie. So, if you have deep shelves, then it's not gonna matter so much. So what I do is I have a stand. I just have a few movies that I display on the top of the shelf, and this is one of them. So it's a good display piece. If you're gonna display a movie, might as well be Citizen Kane. So the fact that it's wide doesn't bother me. In fact, it makes it look really good as a display piece. But if you're sitting on a shelf, it is gonna jut out a bit if it's too shallow. We have David Lynch, Eraserhead. Now, I have some other David Lynch movies. I'll find them in a second. We have Brazil, one of my favorite covers in the Criterion collection. It's about a guy who I guess gets tired of all the bureaucracy, and I think those file cabinets represent bureaucracy, and he's kind of flying away, escaping all that. So it's one of my favorite movies. It's a cult classic. I think this is Terry Gilliam. Yeah, Terry Gilliam. Name a Terry Gilliam movie that isn't a cult classic. So next we have Uncut Gems, Safdie Brothers, or Safdie Brothers, excuse me, with Adam Sandler. I like Adam Sandler. He is a legend. You got to be in the mood for some of his movies, but I haven't seen this one yet. I'm excited to. I'm expecting this to be Adam Sandler's best performance yet, but we'll see. Okay, I have to make some room here. We have War and Peace. It's my goal to watch or read the book at some point. It's a long book, and it's a long movie. 422 minutes. The Great Dictator. Charles Chaplin. I need to get more Charles Chaplin at some point. I think that's the only one I have. Solaris. Isn't that the name of a video game also? Fantastic Planet. I haven't seen this yet, but apparently it's a good movie if you like partaking in certain substances. And then watching this while on those substances. Buster Keaton, the cameraman. I think Kino Lorber has a bunch of Buster Keaton movies that I want to get. Got Wes Anderson, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Some people rag on Wes Anderson, but I like him. Another Wes Anderson, The Darjeeling Limited. Now this is terrible wrapping. Look at this. Look at this. This is like saran wrap nonsense. If I got this off eBay, I would have thought it was just rewrapped by the seller. But no, I got this directly from Criterion. That's unacceptable. Now it doesn't matter once you open it, but it is terrible wrapping. We have Rushmore, another Wes Anderson. Bottle Rocket, Wes Anderson again. Also, Isle of Dogs is a good Wes Anderson movie. I don't think it's on Criterion. I got that one on Steelbook. The Royal Tenenbaum, Wes Anderson. Moonrise Kingdom. I haven't seen this since it came out. Another Wes Anderson. And another saran wrappy type wrapping. It's just terrible. I don't know why those two movies got the bad treatment. Then you got the Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson. I've only seen clips of this movie. I haven't seen the whole thing yet. And I even forget what those clips are. So I gotta go back and watch this. The Damned. Now we're back on David Lynch. I did show Eraserhead a few minutes ago. This is The Elephant Man. With Anthony Hopkins. Twin Peaks, David Lynch. Mulholland Drive, David Lynch. This is the 4K version. Then we got David Lynch, The Art of Life. The only David Lynch film in Criterion Collection that gets the regular packaging. All the others are in these box type packaging. I don't know what the criteria is for Criterion to decide what gets the box packaging, what gets the regular packaging. I don't know if it's just whatever they desire at the time, but yeah, nope, this is Naked. And this one is Blowout, John Travolta. I've never heard about this movie until I got this Criterion edition. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom. I haven't seen this since like 2007, 2009. I remember it not being all that great. I thought it was just one of those shock value movies. But maybe it is. Maybe it is really good. But it came out, and see that it was the 17th movie that Criterion put out. So it was at the beginning of the company. And I don't know if they were just like, hey, we got to garner attention for the company. What do we do? Well, let's put out Salo. That'll get some attention. Or if it actually does deserve Criterion treatment. I'm not sure. I'm glad it's on the Criterion collection. But I don't remember it being that good of a movie. But back then I wasn't really into movies like I am now. Seven Samurai. The signifying works of Marlon Riggs, who was a black gay filmmaker in the 80s and 90s. So a lot of his works deal with racism, AIDS, topics such as that. And we have another David Lynch, Blue Velvet. I think that's all the David Lynch on Criterion. I think. So that's all my movies. aside from the box sets, I have three box sets I'll show now. And this, I'm sorry, I just hit my dog with something. This is a hefty box set. This is absolutely worth it. This is worth the money. I got this for $150. I don't know what it goes for now. I don't know if it's out of print, but this is definitely worth picking up. It's the Ingmar Bergman Cinema. So this is Ingmar Bergman's works. I don't know if it's complete or just essential, but as you can see, this is the movies. Movies are in slips. You kind of turn pages, and it's just a list of movies. And then this is the compendium that takes you through the movies. I'll show the box sets in another video, since this is going to be a long video anyway. I'll do a whole video just on the box sets. But the compendium alone is worth getting this edition, because it will take you through. Trying to get this all in the camera here. The compendium will take you through his movies. It'll kind of guide you on a journey and tell you about the films. And so if you're really wanting to dive into Ingmar Bergman's works, this is the perfect way to do it. I wish all box sets kind of went this route. It kind of took you on a journey, so you really get to explore excuse me. So you really get to explore the works of this director. Then we got the Essential Fellini. Awesome box set. I love the look of this box set. And so you can see there's a 8.5. I just showed that movie a few minutes ago. So if you have this, you don't need to get that movie. Great box set. Looks cool. When you open it again, I'll show these in another video. Now for the last movie, the last box set, we have the 1000th release that Criterion put out. Congratulations to Criterion for lasting as long as they have and becoming the company they've become. And they knew with their 1000th release, they had to knock it out of the park. And they knocked it out of the park. Some of you already know what this is. This is a fantastic Godzilla collection. Now I have these movies on VHS. And I'll do a video on VHS about why I think VHS many times actually looks better. I'm one of those weirdos. So I'll do a video on that. But I'm anxious to look at the Blu-rays and see how these pan out. It's a nice, big, really thin collection. So it makes for a great display piece. So when you walk into a room, when you have it set up and you walk into a room, it just pops. One of the first things that draws the eye. Fantastic collection. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Now this, luckily, thank you Criterion, includes the 1954 Godzilla, the original Japanese version of Godzilla. It also says in the special features, it has digital transfers of Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 1956 US release version of Godzilla. So it has the 1956 US version of the original Godzilla, which is fantastic. You want the Japanese version, but if you're going to have a collection, include the US version. Because US is kind of different. You know, people are always trying to babysit other people. It gets annoying. Grown adults trying to babysit other grown adults. It's like, get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. So America was like, oh, people aren't ready for this. Let's censor some stuff out of it. So you want the original Japanese and watch the US version after if you're one of those people that like, diving into history of film. That's part of the history of film is the US release. So I'm not going to read out all the special features. I'll let you look again if you want to take a look, if you want to pause this and check all this out. I'm anxious to open it. I haven't opened it yet. There's other videos of people who have opened this, but I'll open all mine and I'll go through these at some point. I'll probably also do a video solely on Godzilla at some point. I have a lot of videos I'm lining up, so I don't know when I'll get to the videos I say I'm gonna make because I have a lot of stuff lined up. Excuse me. So that's my Criterion collection. I hope I could inspire some of you to actually start a Criterion collection. It doesn't have to happen overnight. It can be a decade-long process. Collections are a process, but hopefully I could inspire people who already have a Criterion collection to go out and pick up a couple more movies. Hopefully you saw some that you go, hey, you know what, that looks interesting, let me pick that up. Always look for Criterion sales on Barnes & Noble or Criterion website. That wraps things up. I'm glad you tuned in. I'm glad you stayed through the whole video. Let me know what movies you want to pick up. If there's movies that you think I need to pick up, please let me know. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Now, just for a random recommendation from my entire collection, I'm just real quick, I'm going to recommend Slain, Back from Hell. This is on the Switch. I think it's also on PC, PS5. I think there's options. So this is a difficult game, retro graphics. If you like retro graphics and difficult games, grab this up. The music's great. It'll suck you in, but it will beat you down. Slain, Back from Hell. Check it out.